Okay, let's get started. We're doing a deep dive today into some really interesting research.
Yeah, this one's from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition.
Exactly. And it tackles something vital for all of us aging well. But, not just living longer.
Right. It's about the quality of those years. Staying active, strong, mentally sharp.
And this study zeroes in on something called flavonoids, these natural compounds in lots of foods we eat every day.
Mm-hmm. Things like fruits, vegetables.
So our mission here is to really unpack this research, see what the key findings are, and figure out, well, why it matters for you.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how it highlights these components already in our diet. Flavonoids, they're basically plant pigments.
The colors in fruits and veggies.
Exactly. They give them those vibrant colors. The study mentions things like, well, black tea is a big one for many people.
Okay.
Plus berries, citrus fruits, apples, even red wine gets a mention.
So not exactly exotic stuff.
Not at all. Foods many of us already have around.
And this wasn't just a quick snapshot, was it? The source really stresses the long-term nature.
Oh, absolutely. 24 years they followed people.
Wow.
At a huge group, too. Over 86,000 men and women right here in the U.S.
That scale, that duration,
Yeah.
it definitely gives the findings some, weight.
It really does. And the main link they found, it was between getting more flavonoids in the diet and a lower risk of some common aging issues.
Like what, specifically?
Things like frailty, which is, feeling weak, easily exhausted. Also, impaired physical function.
Which could mean, what, struggling with daily activities?
Sure.
Stairs, groceries.
Precisely. And also, poor mental health. Issues we often worry about as we get older.
Okay, so let's get into the numbers. The study found some specific differences, especially for women.
Yes, it did.
Oh.
For women who had the highest intake of these flavonoids compared to the lowest,
Yeah,
they saw a 15% lower risk of developing frailty.
15%. That's quite a bit.
It is. And a 12% lower risk of impaired physical function, and another 12% lower risk of poor mental health. Pretty significant links just based on diet.
And what about for men? Was it the same?
It was a bit different in this data set. For men, higher intake was still linked to better mental health. A 15% lower risk of poor mental health, actually.
So, okay, same number there.
Right. But the links for frailty and physical function weren't as clear-cut for men in this specific study.
Interesting. Well, why might that be? Does the source suggest anything?
Well, it touches on possibilities. Maybe biological differences or perhaps how diet was reported differently over, 24 years. It's complex.
Sure.
But that mental health connection for both men and women really stands out.
So the big question then is how? How might these flavonoids actually be helping? What's the science bit?
Good question. The research points to a few key mechanisms. Flavonoids act as powerful antioxidants.
Meaning they fight cell damage, like wear and tear.
Exactly. And they're also anti-inflammatory.
Sure.
So they help calm down inflammation throughout the body, which is linked to so many age-related issues.
Okay.
They also seem to be good for blood vessel health, keeping circulation strong, which is vital for, well, everything, brain and body.
Makes sense.
And there's even some evidence they might help maintain muscle mass. That's a direct hit against frailty and losing function.
What really jumps out from this, perhaps the most practical part, is that it might not take huge changes to see a difference.
That's a key takeaway. The source really highlights this. Just increasing intake by about 3 servings a day seem to matter.
3 servings, what does that look like?
It could be simple things, like maybe adding a cup of berries at breakfast, swapping your usual cuppa for black tea, grabbing an apple. Just that kind of small increase was linked to real risk reduction. For women, it was around 6% to 11% lower risk across those outcomes: frailty, function, mental health.
Wow, just for 3 servings more.
And for men, that same increase was linked to that 15% lower risk of poor mental health.
It really drives home that idea, doesn't it? That simple food choices can have a ripple effect.
Absolutely. It suggests these everyday tweaks aren't just, trivial. They could genuinely influence how well we age our quality of life down the line.
So it's not just about lifespan, but health span. Adding life to the years, maybe starting with what's on our plate.
Yeah. If you step back, this deep dive really shows the potential sitting in everyday foods, these flavonoid sources. They could be a simple tool to help buffer against some of the declines we associate with aging.
A powerful thought that dietary choices today could significantly shape our physical strength, our mental sharpness, decades from now.
It's definitely food for thought.
So, thinking about all this, how does this land with you? Does understanding this connection between Well, colorful foods and healthier aging maybe shift how you look at your next meal, thinking about tomorrow.